Hello there. Today, on this episode of Lore and Theories, we are talking about something that matters quite a lot to one of our favorite characters, Shadow the Hedgehog. A question that Shadow had asked himself before Maria was tragically shot on the Ark was a special question, a very difficult question for his heart to manage. Could he cure Maria using the chaos energy, or using himself, his blood, his flow? Could he have done any of that? In order to figure it out, we must cover the two different sides of chaos energy. The two sides are the mythological side and the scientific side. And after we do that, then we can truly answer the question of, could anybody have cured Maria? Starting out, we have to ask one major question. Is there a difference between the scientific and the mythological use of the Chaos Emeralds? And yes, there is. It is a very stark misconception that only the Master Emerald turns thoughts into power. A thing that Sonic fans have to get out of their head is that things with actual lore significance also have native story significance. I've seen a lot that people use consistently the actual stories of games in order to talk about the lore of the games. That is completely different. When talking about story, themes change consistently. And when you change themes consistently and change themes overall sometimes, you're going to end up changing what the lore actually means, and people will become less interested in the lore because you don't have that consistency of theme going into your story. So with that being said, let's talk about some science. The scientific use of the Chaos Emerald has rarely been shown to actually do anything to heal people. It has been used multiple times to create weapons of both mass destruction and some other things. But the main actual culprit of this healing properties thing that Gerald actually believed was Shadow the Hedgehog. Shadow the Hedgehog was created in order to do one simple thing. One very, very, very stark thing. He was created to cure diseases, and he was created to be immortal and live forever. Those are the two things that he was created to do. Shadow is immortal, but being immortal doesn't matter for this discussion. What matters is Shadow the Hedgehog's ability to cure all diseases. The reason why this matters is, how does that actually work? Based on current lore, based on everything that I've seen, scientific use of the Chaos Emeralds is meant to destroy things. I have not seen a single use of the Chaos Emeralds in a scientific sense that heals people. Another thing that you also have to think about is the fact that NIDS is actually a disease where your nervous system is attacking your body. So if NIDS is attacking your body, specifically because whatever you have inside your body that's already attacking it, like bacteria or your parasites, has a similar tissue, similar type of thing to your nervous system. So your immune system is attacking your nervous system due to cellular mimicry. So this makes it way harder to cure. So if it's way harder to cure because of cellular mimicry, the reason why Gerald isn't actually able to cure Maria is because the cellular mimicry makes it hard for the Chaos Emerald scientific properties to destroy those particular cells in particular. Think about it like this. You have the scientific use of the Chaos Emeralds. The scientific use of the Chaos Emeralds destroys things. So, in order to cure Maria, Gerald decides to use it to destroy the cells that are causing her immune deficiency to act up. You use these cells to destroy the things that the immune deficiency is using to act up. It is actually creating the same problem as the immune deficiency itself, because it would also be destroying those cells also. So it would be destroying both healthy cells and the bacteria or the virus that is also hurting Maria. That is what seemingly the problem is. With the problem being that her immune system is attacking her nervous system, what you would have to do is either one, change the properties of the actual material inside her body, which might affect her actual, skeletal structure and all her nervous system and all that stuff. So that's not a good option. The only other option you would actually have is to leave her in constant pain, but regenerate the cells that are actually hurting, so at least the inflammation actually goes away because her body won't feel the pain as much because she's constantly regenerating after her immune system gets attacked. that. Remember, Gerald is not trying to change Maria. Turning Maria into a Mobian is not something that Gerald would want to do. Him manipulating her genetic makeup is something that he will not want to do because his goal is to leave her the same and cure her. His goal is to cure Maria. There is no way that he would turn her into like Maria the Hedgehog or Maria the Cat. That just doesn't make any sense with Gerald's stated motivation. Would he do that as a last resort? Maybe he would, but there's no way that he would actually go out and about with that when he still has time to actually look up and try to research more about the Chaos Emeralds, which was what he was doing before all of Gun came onto the Ark and shot his girl. Not his girl, but his granddaughter. Jesus Christ. Why did I say his girl? What in the fuck? So, with all this being said, could the mythical side of the Chaos Emeralds have actually healed Maria? To actually discover this, we have to go back to Sonic Adventure 1 and then go forward. From everything that we know about the Echidna tribe, they couldn't have cured Maria. They could make her feel good thoughts, you know? They have this whole saying about chaos being the heart, and the heart controlling the seven, and all that stuff, but I don't think that would physically cure Maria. So, super forms can heal you from death, and they can remove viruses from your body, as shown in the IDW comics. Now, the viruses in that thing are artificial viruses. We know that for a fact. That is a artificial virus created by Dr. Eggman that takes over the body and turns you into an entirely different creature. I do not think that the virus that Eggman created is the same as Maria's illness. Maria's illness is created by a virus inside our body that's similar to her actual nervous system. So it's not like determining which is different because it already knows that there's a foreign object in there because of the artificial nature of the actual virus itself, otherwise called the metal virus. Maria coming back to life would not actually stop her nervous system from being attacked. You see, Sonic comes back to life in Sonic 06 at the end of the world stage, and let's be very clear about this. If Maria comes back to life, Maria will not actually get the same treatment Sonic does. Sonic came back to life after getting stabbed through the stomach. Maria dies, and when she comes back to life, she will still have NIDS. Okay, she will still have NIDS, and she will still consistently be attacked by NIDS itself. So her coming back to life doesn't fix anything at all. Now the real question is, how much about the Chaos Emeralds does Gerald know, and does he think that he can actually make a machine that could cure Maria? Like, let's be entirely real. Based on what I've just explained to you throughout this entire video, it's impossible for Chaos Energy to cure Maria. Creating Shadow is the most useless thing Gerald spent time on, and in an ideal world, Shadow the Hedgehog does not exist. That is the most ideal state for what Gerald is trying to do. Neither the Bio Lizard happens, and also fucking Shadow the Hedgehog doesn't happen. His final resort would be to do genetic copying and to replace her brain with a Mobian body and see if you can make that work. But he didn't, because Gerald, I'm gonna say this with the most heartbreaking soul thing in my heart, Gerald didn't actually care about Maria. He cared about what Maria represented, and it was very clear from pretty much everything you've actually read in Gerald's journal that he saw an idea of Maria, idealized that version of Maria. As she grew up, he was meeting those expectations, so his expectations were growing higher, and then she gets her NIDS and she's unable to keep up with his expectations, so he's trying to keep her the same while also trying to cure her, and that just isn't going to work. Based on what we have actually learned here, if Maria died from her space AIDS, I'm calling it space AIDS, it's not AIDS, it's NIDS, but if she died from her space NIDS, okay? If she died from her space NIDS and Shadow actually felt traumatized over that, I would genuinely feel bad for the guy. I'm being serious. Based on all the information that I've showed you today, I would feel insanely bad if Maria genuinely died of her illness, Shadow the Hedgehog would be feeling bad about something that he could have never actually done. He could have never cured them. Gerald was never on the verge of a scientific breakthrough. He was literally activating deadly weapons. He was creating bio-lizards in order to cure Maria. So there's so much going on that's wrong here. And so Shadow should genuinely not feel bad about not being able to cure Maria. Gerald placed expectations on him that he could never meet. And Gerald never cared about Shadow in the first place. He only cared about Shadow in relation to Maria. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, comment. The question I have to ask you is, do you think Shadow could genuinely have cured Maria? And if you do, give me a reason why.